Now, you look at the number, verse 15. In those days, Peter stood up in the midst of the disciples and said, the number of the names together were about 120. This is a significant starting point for our story in Acts.
Well, also notice that that's like a small ward or a large branch.
That's it.
We are not starting with like a massive crush of people.
Now, and some people might be saying, well, wait a minute, didn't Jesus feed 5,000 people up in the Galilee? And didn't he heal dozens and dozens of people? Yes, he did. And you'll remember the Bread of Life sermon when multitudes of people stopped following him because he was giving them hard sayings and they weren't able to bear. So it's fascinating if you look at this beginning point of the book of Acts. We begin with largely 120 disciples assembled here in Jerusalem. And that number will come in handy when we get to chapter 2 and then again in chapter 4. So then they need to replace Judas in the quorum of the 12. They gather together. Look at the requirements for that replacement. They describe Judas's demise in verse 16 through 20, and then they jump into 22 and say, beginning from the baptism of John unto that same day that he was taken up from us, must one be ordained to be a witness with us of his resurrection. Don't you love this, that an apostle, the number one thing that an apostle needs to do is to testify or be a witness, a special witness of the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And even in this context, first century, all the way back to the baptism of John. So they appointed two, Joseph Barsabbas and Matthias. And then they pray unto the Lord. Once again, these are not just the acts of the apostles. These are the acts of the resurrected Christ running and guiding and leading his church through these ministries of the apostles with the help of the Holy Ghost. So they're praying, who? Show us whether of these two thou hast chosen. It's a beautiful thing in the church today when a leader in any layer of the organizational structure is given that responsibility to call counselors or to call a teacher or to call an advisor, and they pray to find out who heaven has already appointed for that position. They're not trying to sway heaven into saying, okay, I need so-and-so, so make them the right person. It's rather, who hast thou already chosen? Help me to know. And I love this pattern. So after they've prayed, they cast lots, they put forth their lots, and the lot fell upon Matthias. And he was numbered with the 11 apostles. So now we have a complete quorum of 12, yet again, and it sets the stage for this outpouring of the Holy Ghost in chapter 2.
The word quorum, by the way, means sufficiency. And so there's this essence or this idea that there's a sufficiency to direct the work of God through the help of the Holy Ghost.